What's up, nerds? It's Austin from Simply Nerdy, and today we're diving into something truly special, one of the exclusive short stories from Stormlight Lost Tales. These gems were unveiled at this year's Dragonsteel Nexus, where fans unraveled the stories piece by piece through an incredible card collecting and trading experience featuring stunning art and hidden secrets. Now, out of respect for Brandon Sanderson's wishes to keep the full text of these stories exclusive, I won't be sharing the entire tale. Instead, I'll read a short snippet for you and showcase some of the amazing artwork that came with it. The Chasmfriends Get a Pet by Brandon Sanderson and Dan Wells. It was a warm, sunny day in the Crackety Plains, and the Chasmfriends were lounging in the shade of the chasms. "I want a race," said Shredhead. She ran back and forth through the chasm, the ground shaking as she stomped over boulders and bones. "Come on, let's go!" "You always want to race," said Halorina. She was moving too, but gracefully, walking on the tips of her carapace toes and raising her claws in the air. "I want to dance." She spun around, swinging her tail behind her, knocking Creme from the chasm walls. "Food!" shouted Burp Slurper. He was still a baby and always hungry. He slammed his claws on the ground and kicked his tiny feet, so tiny they were almost as small as boulders. "Food! Food! Food!" The biggest of the Chasmfriends started to move, and they thought he might wake up, but all he did was snore and roll over. He was asleep. He was always asleep. His name was Darren. Suddenly, the friends heard a loud, crashing clatter echoing through the chasm. Someone was coming. They looked and saw Cleverclaws running toward them, whooping with joy. He was holding a box. "Look what I found!" he shouted, and lifted the box up high. "Look what I found!" "You found a box?" said Shredhead. "Boring." "No," said Cleverclaws. "He's inside the box." "Who's inside the box?" asked Halorina. "Food!" shouted Burp Slurper. Darren snored. "He's not food," said Cleverclaws. "He's my pet. He's my newest, bestest friend." "Where'd you find him?" asked Halorina. "Just show him to us," said Shredhead. "Okay," said Cleverclaws and put the box in the middle of the group. "Just be careful, okay? He's really small." The Chasmfriends fell silent and watched the box with eager excitement. Cleverclaws took off the lid. Inside the box was a tiny little creature. It had a metal shell on its head, kind of like a Chasmfriend, and arms and legs, kind of like a Chasmfriend, but it wasn't a Chasmfriend at all. First, it only had 2 claws. Even weirder than that, it only had 2 legs. It waved a tiny stick and made a tiny growly sound. "Food?" asked Burp Slurper. "No," said Halorina. "That's a shouty." Everyone had seen the shouties before. They lived on top of the Crackety Plains, where they ran around and shouted and hit each other with sticks. "I like his little stick," said Halorina. "It's cute." "I think he likes it too," said Cleverclaws. "I want to name him Sticker Licker." "Maybe just Sticky," said Halorina. "That sounds too much like Shouty," said Cleverclaws. "Let's play Shouties," said Shredhead and picked up a fallen tree. "We can hit each other with these." She smacked Cleverclaws as hard as she could, slamming him to the side of the chasm. "Ouch!" said Cleverclaws. Darren snored. "Just Shouty then," said Halorina, and peered into the box. After a moment, she frowned. "Wait a minute, he looks different now." "Different?" Cleverclaws looked into the box. The tiny little Shouty had backed into a corner, staring up at them with its tiny little face. He was still holding the stick, but instead of waving it around, he was leaning on it. His face was wet, and his arms hung down, and he wasn't even shouting anymore. "Why is his face wet?" "Maybe he's a spren," said Shredhead. "Like a water spren or something." "A shout spren," said Halorina. "A stick spren," said Shredhead. "Food?" asked Burp Slurper hopefully. "No," said Cleverclaws, figuring it out. "Those are tears. Shouty is sad. But I don't know why, because he's right here with me, and I'm his bestest friend." But even with the bestest friend, the Shouty was definitely sad. Alright everyone, that is it for this episode, but if you enjoyed this preview and would like to be alerted of our Stormlight content or other nerdy shenanigans in the future, then be sure to drop us a like, click subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Until next time, keep it nerdy.